welcome to another episode of the Crispy Compact Communiqué, the 2021 virtual Zoom streaming extravaganza that is the Crispy Noodle podcast in 2021. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. I'm Rich Liebig.
And I'm Michael Costanzo.
And we are still here to give you the latest tidbits in sports, entertainment, and odd news. Some industry tidbits for your mind. This is the meal for your mind. So hope you guys are hungry. We got some fresh news for you. Lots of topics in sports, entertainment, and odd news. But before we get into all of that, Mikey, how are you doing, my good friend?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. Been busy with work and getting ready for a big move coming up. Yeah,
that's actually you got. You know, I titled this thing as I have a big announcement, but you have a big announcement too. I totally forgot about that.
I do have a big announcement. Not as big as yours. We'll get to that in a second. But I'm moving out. Finally, I'm moving in with my girlfriend.
Mike's moving out.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. That's coming up actually this upcoming weekend. So I've been scrambling around trying to get everything ready. But yeah, that's my big news. But Rich, I want to clear the floor for you because you have some pretty big news yourself.
Yeah. This is a pretty big deal. Yeah, everything came together at the right time, and it just felt it felt just the right time and just felt great, and it was perfect. I have so many things I can't process in my head when I think about now everything that's happened, but I proposed to my longtime girlfriend Rachel, so we are now engaged. It's some parts of it still haven't exactly hit me. But it's still just such a happy moment. Rachel is just ecstatic. She's been on cloud nine ever since it happened. It's just been fantastic. And yeah,
Rich is speechless. Rich is speechless. That's how amazing it is, man. Yeah, I gotta tell you,
I'm not. My problem is, I'm not usually one for being romantic and stuff like that. But for this, I really was romantic, and and it kind of, at least romantic as I'll ever be. I'm sorry if maybe it didn't seem too romantic, but it was very heartfelt and very emotional, but also at the same time very just joyous, and I can't wait to marry her, and this is just gonna be just the best of both worlds, and I can't wait. So yeah, Rachel is now my fiance, and it's been right. It's like you have to flip the switch now. It's like, yep, it's now fiance, and it's just fantastic, and I love her very much, and it felt like it was the right time to do it, and I'm just ecstatic, and this is how you can tell I'm very emotional about this, is I keep rambling on and on, so I need to stop. I'm gonna stop.
Man, so I'll take over from here.
Yeah, it's different when the camera's on you. All of a sudden, all the thoughts that you had just went out the window. So please save me.
Hey, it's cool, man. Listen, I'm ecstatic. You actually called me and told me the big news beforehand, and I was bursting at the seams to tell everybody because I knew how many people would be so excited to hear this news. And man, my parents were thrilled. My brother was thrilled. Everybody who I know who has now finally found out is absolutely thrilled for you. Rich, I've known you, my God, more than half of our lives.
Yeah.
We're so old. And
we've been doing this podcast for half of our lives too.
We've been doing this podcast for a very long time. And I got to tell you, man, when we were talking on the phone and even now I could hear, just how special and how important this was to you. And man, I'm just thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled for both you and Rachel. Congratulations to the both of you, from myself, from everybody. I'm sure I speak on behalf of all of Crispy Noodle Nation in saying that everybody is so excited, and Rachel, good luck.
That's probably the best advice to give to Rachel.
Yeah, good luck and Godspeed. But no, man, I'm speechless too. It's amazing. It's perfect. You guys are so good together. I'm so excited, and I can't wait for everything that's in the future.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see where life will take us, but it just feels so great. I know it sounds like you keep going back to the same words, but it feels so good. And um another thing too that I wanted to mention is um one of the advantages of having your own podcast is you kind of you can almost mark where you are at in life.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
actually a couple weeks ago, remember we did the whole where were we during COVID
Yep.
kind
Yeah.
of callbacks. And that's kind of the advantage to having, your own show, your own podcast, stuff like that, is whenever there is a serious life event, you can go back to it and remember how you feel. So I'm sure this one I'm probably going to look back on in a year and realize, Rich, you don't you sound so stupid right now. But it's because just emotionally I'm just very fulfilled right now, and it's all just it's all good, and it's all just pure happiness. Yeah, me and Rachel are now officially on the road to a wedding and everything like that. So I couldn't be happier. So
Yeah. Well, congratulations again. I'm so thrilled for you guys, and everybody over here is thrilled for you guys. So
yeah, your
can't wait.
parents joined
I
us at the beginning, when we were doing
I
the test run of the
I
stream.
know, I
So
know. They saw me getting out the laptop. They come shuffling over like the two old fools that they are. My mom was like, almost brimming up with tears, and because I we've known each other so long. You're almost part of the family here. It's so I can't wait until we can celebrate in person. Finally.
yeah,
So, but man, good things on the horizon.
yes,
So
indeed.
congratulations, man.
Thank you, thank you. This is definitely a very happy moment. We're doing the show live, by the way, right now. So shout out to my future mother-in-law who commented that she's very happy for us both. So there you go. My
There you go.
Rachel's mom she's getting hooked right up on the Facebook Live. There you go. So
There you go.
for all
Number one
those
fan right there.
yeah, for all those that are watching on the podcast, on the audio stream only on podcast services, hey, Wednesday night, if you're not doing anything, check us out on Facebook Live. You can leave a comment live, and we'll address it. So there you go. All right, did I did I blabber on enough? That's kind of the worst.
You've earned the right to
Yeah,
blabber on though. You
yeah,
have.
yeah. I know. It's just I usually when we organize topics, I have like the things I want to hit, my opinions. I have everything nice and laid out, and this is just more of emotional, and
It's from the heart. It's from the heart, not from the mind. So
yeah, so that's where I go astray and I lose track of time and everything like that.
do you,
But
do you, do you want me to rein you back in,
yeah,
Rich?
I need you to rein me back in. That's not a
If
good.
there's one topic that can rein you back in and put me straight to sleep, it's golf. That's right. The Masters happened. If that wasn't enough, getting engaged wasn't enough for Rich. He also had the Masters this past weekend. So he really was on cloud nine between those two things.
It was also a WrestleMania weekend too.
Oh my God.
It was, this past week has been nuts. WrestleMania, Masters, getting engaged. I got my second COVID shot. Everything is
everything's coming up, Rich.
everything has happened this past week. So yes, it's definitely been a busy week. But yeah, let's get into some news topics. Yeah, let's talk about golf. The Masters happened. This is the Super Bowl of golf.
Augusta, right?
Yep, at Augusta, right there in Georgia. Very interesting result as 29-year-old Hideki Matsuyama wins the tournament. He becomes the first male Japanese golfer to win a major event and the first Asian-born golfer to win at Augusta at the Masters.
Okay.
This is such a great story for the Asian community. They've been having a very rough go lately with some of the news headlines that they've had and the Stop Asian Hate movement. It's so good that this is now just a purely positive story for that community.
Absolutely.
They're saying that this could be linked to a now renaissance of golf in Japan. So this is just great news all around um, for Asian fans of the golf world. As Matsuyama does it, he's the first Asian-born golfer to win the Masters and the first male Japanese golfer to win a major. Fantastic.
Yeah, awesome for that, man. And 29 years old, still young, got a lot of golf left in him. And I see he won quite a big prize pot, right?
Yep. His tally is $2,070,000.
Man,
Just
there
just
you go.
just toss that $70,000 to anybody at that rate. You
Yeah,
know.
why such the odd, like little, at least round it
Well,
up to an even 100,000.
so the reason why is the golf majors. Well, actually, most of the PGA tournament events, they have a cash prize pool, and
Right,
then depending on how everybody finishes, because you get like ties and stuff.
right.
You get like I think for this there's three people tied in third place. So when you have stuff like that, the formula for divvying out the money gets skewed a little bit because you're on different rankings and different finishes and stuff like that.
That's interesting. I wonder if players hold grudges against each other. If somebody like accidentally ties with someone else and affects the formula, and maybe Matsuyama got like $30,000 less, so now he has this weird, awkward number that's not nice and round. I'd be just annoyed there wasn't a nice round, even number.
No,
Really,
Mike, if someone
what?
handed you $2 million,
I'd be upset it wasn't 2.1.
no, come on, you'd be happy to take $2 million.
I'd take half that amount. I'd take a quarter of that amount. Let's get that straight.
Yeah, right. So I mean, you're not going to complain about whether or not it's 2,070,000 versus two point
No,
one million dollars, really, in the long scheme of things.
no.
Um, and also to your previous thing too, that it kind of really doesn't work out like that because usually, I mean, unless like somebody comes from behind and like kind of ascends, but even then, you're at that point you're kind of happy that someone had that magnificent of a round that they came back. Like
So
you're
there's no animosity,
not
in
not really that I can think of.
at least not
I've
that we would
never.
know of.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't really
I
know.
mean, maybe in 30 years from now there'll be Dark Side of Golf, and
There you go.
you know,
There you go. That's
because
like your new favorite series.
well,
I know you
can we
told
go?
me.
Can we go side note here? Just
Yeah,
random
side
side
note.
note. So one of my favorite shows is Dark Side of the Ring on Vice. They've announced they're doing a third season of all these stories from behind the scenes in pro wrestling that you never heard of or you never really knew the full details of these dark topics that that they basically just it's like BuzzFeed Unsolved or Unsolved Mysteries but for wrestling. Um, Mike, you got to get onto this because
I
apparently they
know.
are announcing a spin-off show for Dark Side of Football. So you got to get on it, man. It's coming.
I have to. I got to watch the series so I can get ready for the dark side of football. Maybe then there will be like you said, a dark side of golf. They should really just do all the sports. I think it would be a fascinating thing if they just kept going along with the concept. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, you know what? Maybe in 15 or 20 years that we could actually do Dark Side of Football with this topic because this topic every week we keep hearing a different story. It's Deshaun Watson
yeah.
time again. We keep coming back. Another update. What do you got, Mike?
Another update, and I mean, these updates just do not ever get any better. So 20 women recently filed amendments to their lawsuits, officially disclosing their identities. It was ruled by a couple of judges that some of the women had to disclose their identities, and so the attorney that was filing the lawsuit amended all of the lawsuits to publicly identify the plaintiffs. One plaintiff actually dropped the suit, quote unquote, for now, out of privacy and security concerns. But this is a big step that all or the vast majority of the women are willing to publicly disclose their identities. I mean, this is it lends a little bit of credibility to the claims that they're willing to I'm actually not sure if it's public or if it's just for the courts, but identify themselves nonetheless. That's a pretty big step.
Yeah, either way, if you're willing to go that far, at some point it's going to get leaked.
Right, exactly. So in my view, lends credibility to it. And also this little twist muddies the water as well. Watson's attorney is now claiming that the quarterback certainly had consensual sexual encounters with masseuses in the past, but says that at no point did Watson engage in any activity that was not, quote, mutually desired. This is quite problematic now.
Yeah.
This is now this whole, I do not like this whole scenario. I
don't know why you sounded a little bit like Dr. Seuss there. I do not like this story. I do not like
I
this.
do not like it at all. I do not like it with green eggs and ham.
Yeah, I do not like this Deshaun Watson.
and you know what, that's what it is. I do not like Deshaun Watson now. My opinion of him has completely soured. This looks really, really bad. And I think it's only a matter of time before this continues to snowball into some serious repercussions for the quarterback. Like I said, last week we mentioned there were a couple of criminal charges being investigated. Now the plaintiffs have all identified themselves. His attorney's admitting that, yes, he may have had consensual encounters with masseuses. There's a very fine line, someone who's powerful, who has money, who has stature. That's, I don't want to go so far because, these are all allegations. We don't know anything yet, but that's bordering on like abuse of power. It becomes a very tricky, dicey situation.
And the worst part is every week it seems to escalate.
Yeah,
it's getting worse and worse. So I don't know. This is not looking good for Watson.
Not looking good at all. However, the Eagles are reportedly still interested in trading for the quarterback. Now, I don't know what to make of this. Is this just typical offseason rumors? Is there actual validity to these claims? I really hope not. I really would not be able to stomach the Eagles trading for a player like this right now as everything stands.
No. You don't.
I don't want somebody like this on the team. I really don't.
No, you don't. You don't want to deal with the headache that's going on right now. The Texans don't even want to deal with this headache.
No, they're probably looking to give him away for free at this point. But it's
that's a good. I think it's a good transition though, because there's a lot of Eagles gossip to talk about that came from a insider report about the Eagles organization. We need to hit just a couple quick bullet points because the article itself is very long.
It's a big piece from the Atlantic.
Right. So, Mike, what topics do you want to talk about real quick on this?
There's a lot.
Because I know there's one thing personally that's bothering me in this story.
I know. Well, there's a lot that bothers me about the whole story, but basically it just paints a picture of the Eagles' top brass and organization being incredibly dysfunctional, paranoid, mismanaged, that there are departments working completely separated from each other, that there's no communication, there's distrust within the organization. And this is really shocking coming from an organization which I had, biased or not, always viewed as one of the more upstanding organizations. Did a lot of philanthropic work, took on players of high character. They always preached family and togetherness, and they always seem like the good guys, for better or for worse. And now I'm seeing a completely different picture of this team of just disorganization, mismanagement, and classic dysfunction that we always used to make fun of other teams like the Browns and the Jets for. This is bordering on lunacy in times. So some of the key bullet points here. One of the things that frustrated me was that Jeffrey Lurie weighs in on draft picks and ends up swaying decisions. It's now, several times we've seen in different reports that he had a big say in the J.J. Arcega-Whiteside draft pick. And it makes you wonder, who else has Jeffrey Lurie weighed in on? As the article puts it, puts his thumb on the scales. That's a very slippery slope to have your owner that involved. It makes you think Jerry Jones in Dallas and how well that ends up.
That sounds very much like the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and it's something we've always criticized the Cowboys for. So we can't stand here and be like, it's okay for Lurie to do it. No, it's not okay for Lurie to do it.
I feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi. You have become the very thing you swore to destroy. Damn Eagles.
Yeah. And it even gets worse from there. There was a report that Roseman and Lurie were basically overanalyzing game decisions in the Tuesday meetings with Peterson. This is something that the report talks about, that every Tuesday they would bring Peterson in and they would grill him on every decision. Why go for it on this third down? And why did you call this play on this fourth down? And really just nitpick every single little coaching decision.
And this was recently.
and this was recently, and some
Like,
sources are saying that the coach was ridiculed and criticized for decisions. Rich, what do you make of this?
look. I'm probably the first one to tell you, Doug Peterson, although he led the Eagles to the Super Bowl, he probably wasn't the primary cause of the Eagles' success. But at the same time, this dude led you to the Super Bowl. I think he's earned a little bit of a leash with his decisions. Now, when we got into the back end of the last season, where there was clear dysfunction going on between Wentz and him, and between Hurts, all right, then then you could make an argument for this then. But the fact that this happened in the time between the Super Bowl win and last season, that's insane. This guy, he brought you a Super Bowl. He gets a leash. And no, apparently the Eagles were treating him like he was still a first year head coach. You do this type of thing with a first year head coach, which probably doesn't sound good now for Nick Sirianni this year. He's gonna get ridiculed for every decision he makes now this year.
The article and the discussion online makes it seem like a lot of the coaching decisions are made based on, I hate to put it that way, but who's easily manipulable by the Eagles' top brass, which is one of the reasons why some coaches strayed away from us, and why coaches like Nick Sirianni, who previously, hadn't been in a head coaching search conversation, all of a sudden, just like Doug Peterson before him. Remember, Doug Peterson's name had never popped up, and there he was, head coach of the Eagles. Same thing with Nick Sirianni. And this goes all the way back to 2017, apparently. Sources in the organization got the feeling that Lurie was prepping Schwartz at one point to take over as head coach before 2017 if Peterson happened to falter. That doesn't breed any sort of trust or loyalty in an organization that supposedly has a singular goal of helping this team win. This sort of office politics. And I wish the article wasn't behind a paywall. There's sources out there where you can read it, but if you can find an opportunity to read the whole article, definitely do so, because it really paints a troubling, dysfunctional picture of the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, some of the things we had sort of hinted at or guesstimated at, but now it's, sources are saying that all of our fears are more likely than not close to the truth. The idea of Lurie being over involved, the idea of Roseman operating on his own, having his own draft board, influence game day rosters, pressuring assistant coaches to play certain recent draft picks. This is like really weird, backhanded office politics stuff that has no business in football.
Yeah, it doesn't work either. That's
no,
the worst
clearly
part.
not.
Very rarely does an organization survive with that much gossip and chaos happening behind the scenes. Yeah. So I don't know how much of a fluke was winning that Super Bowl. I don't know. Well, it may be a true fluke now.
That's the other thing that the article mentions, is that it's looking more like that Super Bowl win was the exception and not the rule. That it was, it was that year that was the aberration, not, this past year. That everything that we saw come to a head this past year is really just emblematic of what was boiling underneath the surface.
Yep.
Somehow they pulled out a Super Bowl win, right time, right place, right time, right circumstances. It will forever be one of the best seasons of Eagles football that I've ever seen, probably will ever see in my entire life. But unless there's major systemic changes,
that's probably
2020 might be closer to the new norm than 2017.
There you go. That might be it. Hope you guys enjoyed that Super Bowl parade. That's it. But
it's gonna be the last one for a while, apparently.
So with this story coming out, is there any sane team in the NFC East? I don't think so. Every NFC East team is dysfunctional.
We joked about it last season that they deserve to be disbanded. Every team is a disgrace. Every team is dysfunctional. It's the worst division in football. If you see any of these NFC East teams go up against your team, mark it down as a win, unless you're basically the Jets. If you give one of us a primetime game, the NFL executives who are in charge of scheduling are on like crack cocaine or something. It's shameful, the NFC East.
Yeah.
between an
So
overtly racist team, Jerry Jones Crypt Keeper, and now the Eagles dysfunction
and the
and the
Giants with Dave
Giants.
Gettleman.
Yeah,
Yeah, him.
it's a disgrace.
Yeah. So it's gonna be another banner year for the NFC East.
Oh yeah.
Get ready. All right, there you go. A lot of sports news there to cover. Let's get into some entertainment news. Oh, Mike, you put this in the rundown. You're making my heart flutter. What is happening? You put the legendary words BioShock game. What is happening?
Yeah. So recently, some news has hit the internet that another Bioshock game is in the works at 2K Games. There's another studio working on it called Cloud Chamber. Of course, Irrational Games, the developer of the first couple of Bioshocks, no longer in existence. But Cloud Chamber is hiring several positions that are leading people to believe that they are looking to make the next Bioshock an open world game. The job listings say here, quote, that they are looking for writers who can weave impactful, character driven stories in an open world setting, brainstorming primary and secondary mission content with the design, and helping in the creation and execution of core story, including the writing of dialogue and other narrative elements as director. So they're looking to make the next Bioshock game open world. Uh, Rich, what do you make of this? Now, obviously, this is just a job listing. Job listings always oversell the position, right? They make it seem way more than it is. But
So this company, is Ken Levine behind it? I don't think he
he
is.
is not. No.
Okay. Hmm. So my rule of thumb is I wouldn't get too excited until I would see Ken Levine attached to the project. Because to me, Ken Levine created BioShock. He is BioShock. The
Yeah.
the the things that he's written for the BioShock universe have been fantastic. First BioShock, BioShock Infinite, Burial at Sea. Every single that should be the true trilogy, by the way.
As far as I'm concerned, it is
Yeah,
right.
BioShock 2 was not written by Ken Levine, and although it's a decent game, it's not. Uh,
It's not the same.
yeah,
It's
it's
just not
not.
the same.
It's not the same, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the BioShock universe. So, as far as I'm concerned, the true BioShock trilogy is BioShock, BioShock Infinite, BioShock Burial at Sea. That would be my FYI if you're new to BioShock. Those would be the three games I would say you play. Um, but I think BioShock, the universe itself, lends well to an open source, an open world game. Um, I know the first two games kind of actually sort of play as an open world, because you can kind of go back and retrace your steps, see if there's something that you missed and stuff like that. Although there are like markers that something in the story hits, then you can't go back. But
Right.
yeah, all it would take it would be to just make the playing area and the map more centralized, remove those elements where you can't go back. I mean, it fits pretty well. It's, to me, that's not really outlandish. I think that would work pretty well for a BioShock game.
Yeah. The thing that immediately pops into my head when you mentioned Bioshock and open world is the idea that the world is a character. And, if they can really capture that essence in an open world, see, I see it as very risky because with an open world, you do lose some of that narrative control. Think about like Grand Theft Auto. Like, what is Grand Theft Auto 5 really about? Nobody knows. What's Red Dead 2 Redemption about? Nobody really knows. Uh,
Well,
is
Red Dead Redemption. I just want to nitpick.
okay.
So Red Dead Redemption, the story, the first person story, you can answer that question. The Red Dead Redemption Online, I can see. Yeah, that doesn't really. It doesn't have the same weight as far as I'm concerned. It's not as good.
Yeah.
Grand
The,
Theft Auto, though, online has been fantastic because they regularly freshen up it. They regularly add a story element. They regularly add different components to its advantage or disadvantage, the way you want to look at it, people look at it and say, well, that's the reason why you haven't had a new Grand Theft Auto game in, what, 8-9 years? But at the
Yeah.
same time, it makes it fun to play. I love Grand Theft Auto Online.
Well, the online components are separate from the story components. I'm thinking about specifically the stories. A lot of open world games, you sacrifice narrative control. You're never going to have as tight of a story as a BioShock or a Last of Us or Uncharted when you have a big world like that, like Assassin's Creed or Grand Theft Auto.
Okay.
Very rarely do you get something like that. So I see them maybe having a tough time guiding the narrative. But on the other hand, when you think about those open worlds and how impactful the world is and what they can do with the world building, right? Think about, again, I use Red Dead Redemption 2 as an example. While the story is kind of meandering and you sort of lose track of it as you get into hour 70, the world though is amazing, and you want to keep existing in that world, which I think, given the worlds of BioShock, could be incredibly interesting to explore a world like Rapture or Columbia in an open setting, right? And really get to know the world and see the inner workings of it. They have here in other job descriptions that they want to bring in an AI programmer who would develop an urban crowd system and the, quote, systemic tribal ecology of a sometimes hostile AI. So it could be very interesting how they create this world and how you interact with it if they commit to, the idea of the world as a character, like Rapture was. Rapture was as big a character as the playable character in the first BioShock. So while I see potential pitfalls in controlling the narrative, I also see great potential in expanding the world and really making it a place players want to live in. So cautiously optimistic. This thing has got to be years out, though. I mean, if they're still hiring writers, this is 5-6 years out, probably. I can't imagine there's anywhere close to being done.
No. But, hey, anytime that you give me hope for a BioShock game, I'll take a look at it.
All I got to do is put BioShock in the rundown, and Rich is all over it.
Yeah.
But you know what Rich probably isn't all over is this next topic right here. And I could not believe it. I didn't add this topic. Rich added this topic, and I was floored when I saw this. The J.J. Abrams cut, ? Rich, say it ain't so, man. Say it ain't so. What's going on here?
There is a rumor that is going around like wildfire all over Reddit and a couple of news blog websites that says that behind the scenes there could be just like there was a Snyder cut of Justice League and all, and now there's going to be a Stallone cut of Rocky 4 for some godforsaken reason, that J.J. Abrams could be working on a Abrams cut of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. I can't do this. I can't do this, Mike. Why? Okay.
I really hate, going back to last week.
Yeah.
I really
hate
the director's cut thing.
Yeah, it's like every week we keep hearing a new director's cut.
It is a crutch. It is a crutch for a failed original story that the developer then has to go and recut, and more often than not, it ends up amounting to DVD deleted scenes additions. Because I'm of the opinion that if it hits the cutting room floor, it should stay on the cutting room floor. That just padding something for the sake of padding something or bringing back deleted scenes because you felt some sort of weird connection to some, snappy line of dialogue doesn't make it better, just makes it bloated. And if what is to be believed is correct, you put here that it could be 4 hours.
There's a rumor, yeah.
4 hours.
Yes.
So you're telling me somehow they're going to find an extra hour and a half of film to do what? How are they going to make this movie better with an hour and a half of extra footage?
See, so this is the thing that everyone needs to understand about the Snyder cut of Justice League. I don't know. I'm going to assume you still haven't seen it yet.
But I still haven't seen it, no.
The reason why the Snyder cut of Justice League works is because of the situations that led up to Snyder's departure from the film and that he never got a chance to finish the way that he wanted it to. And the fact that Sony spent $70 million on Snyder to let him reshoot and shoot new things for the re-edit. What's J.J. Abrams going to do? Is he going to ask for Adam Driver to come back and, hey, I want you to reshoot something?
Well,
Like,
I mean, it's Disney and Lucasfilm, maybe.
do you think they would pour like $70-80 million into a re-edit of Rise of Skywalker?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I think that would be foolish for them to do that. I think that Disney has smarter business principles than that. I honestly, I really hope and believe that this is just a rumor, because I don't think that just adding stuffing a 4-hour movie is going to make Rise of Skywalker better.
Yeah.
I think this is the problem with director's cuts, is the story's already there, right? You're not redoing the story. All you can do is add and remove and shuffle content. It's already been laid out.
The only way Rise of Skywalker is going to improve in my book is if you burn the film and you just redo episode 9 from start to finish.
Is that the 4-hour director's cut? They just make a new Rise of Skywalker 2.0?
You know what? I wouldn't be... I would be more happy if they came along and said, this is the true episode 9 or something like that. We're scrapping Rise of Skywalker.
Episode 9 becomes like the Christmas special, and then you have episode 9.2.
Something like that. I would be more happy at that than hearing J.J. Abrams is trying to, smash together deleted scenes to try and capitalize on this whole, Snyder Cut fiasco that people love.
Yeah, I will say this about, what you said about the Snyder Cut. I am in agreement that it is different, because the original director's intent did not make it to film. So are you to tell me J.J. Abrams' original intent didn't make it to film? He had full control over it.
Yeah. So what else is the problem?
So at this point, it's ego stroking and it's saving face. It's not making it better. So the story's already written. All you can do is add crap to the crap pile.
Can you take out Palpatine? Is that possible?
Yeah. Can you, how about this? Can you remove Palpatine? Can you remove the weird healing powers? Can you actually introduce a gray Jedi plot line? Can you do anything creative or new? No, the story is already there. You can't fix what's already there unless you recreate it.
Can you, going from my logic, can you take Cobra Kai and Photoshop the karate outfits out and put Jedi uniforms on and lightsabers?
You just imagine they just like Photoshop lightsabers into the scenes that just sort of like freely spin on its axis to make it look like they're fighting with lightsabers instead of karate. Like that, that would be a solution.
You know what? Here's the new extended cut idea. Just replace episode 9 with Cobra Kai season 3.
There you go. Just pretend that the universe evolved or devolved, or there's a time flux or something, and everything and everyone's different. There you go.
And and the characters morphed into Karate Kid universe. It's perfect.
This is very upsetting. I'm just reading the rundown. I'm just reading the same line over and over again. 4-hour Abrams cut of Rise of Skywalker, Mike, and just it infuriates me.
At this rate, what's next?
What's next
even to a degree. Look at Godfather Part 3. They re-released Godfather Part 3 with the Godfather coda. It's ridiculous.
At this point, anything is on the table. Yeah. Right? Because once you open these floodgates, as we saw in video games, remember video games when we used to get new video games and now we don't?
Yeah.
Here's a rumor I didn't put in the rundown. They're remaking The Last of Us again after they already remade it for the PlayStation 4. Just like they're remaking Grand Theft Auto 5 again after they remade it for PlayStation 4. We're now trending in the similar territory with movies. Okay, instead of new movies, we're just going to get the Stallone cut of Rocky 4 and the Abrams cut of Rise of Skywalker. And then there's going to be, actually, Star Wars already has a history of it, Rich, don't they?
They do.
I'm just realizing that. George Lucas is the biggest culprit and the first culprit of this nonsense. They should string him up. They should drag him through the streets.
Hold on. There's a difference between this. You're talking about the special edition that came out in 97?
I'm talking about all the editions, the no edition, the special edition, the gold VHS set, the silver VHS set.
So the 97 special edition, that has merit because that was the 20th anniversary of Star Wars. They were,
Yes.
I think so,
Yeah.
20th, if I did my math correctly. It was, they were trying to get it to a new generation, and
They updated the technology, which is one
Lucas,
thing.
right, and Lucas threw in more technological advances than possible. Now, the DVD release was complete BS. The one where they replace good guy Anakin Skywalker with Hayden Christensen for some reason. Like, why is he now the Force Ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi? And some other things that were horrible in that DVD release.
No.
Yeah, that too.
Was that the no cut? I'm calling it the no cut.
No. But so you're half right on that. Lucas does have some of his hands dirty on that. You're right.
Look, directors are egotistical by nature. They have to be, because they're the ones running the whole show. It's their quote unquote vision, even though it's a collective art form. But we can't let them get too big. We can't let their egos get too big, because then we'll just keep getting rehashes. Nobody wants rehashes. Tell me, have you ever seen a rehash other than Justice League that really warranted it?
Yeah,
like you'd be hard pressed to find one, not Justice League notwithstanding, because it's a unique case, but like Blade Runner director's cut and The Godfather coda and all the different Star Wars cuts, with the exception of upgrading the visuals. Like, why? What's the purpose of these things? Even like the Lord of the Rings cuts that added 40 minutes to each of the films, it's totally unnecessary. I'm saying that as a Lord of the Rings fan. I'm saying I'll be the first to say it. I've not seen a director's cut that really made me think, wow, I really needed that extra 30 minutes of film. Watchmen. Did the Watchmen director's cut add anything?
Some things, but yeah, I don't
but
know
did
if
it
it's
change
an outright,
the story?
Right, it didn't. It's not an outright upgrade. To me, the best example is actually Snyder Cut.
The Justice League,
yeah. But that's one of those things that this should be the rare exception. This shouldn't be a new this should not be a new style. Yes. And apparently this is now happening, because we saw Stallone last week with Rocky IV. Now with this rumor with Abrams and Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker. Oh my God, dear God, this might be a new segment now. Every week there's going to be a new director's cut of something.
Well, early in the pandemic, all we did was report on the movies getting canceled. Now, after a year into the pandemic, all we're doing is talking about movies getting remade. It's like, it's going to be a new weekly thing. What movie is being director cutted now? Director cutted? Director cut? Director? I don't know. What's the
I think
proper conjugation?
I think you just go by whatever the hashtag is. Blank cut, whatever.
Right. Hashtag
Snyder cut,
Abram cut, Snyder cut,
Stallone cut. I can't believe I still can't believe
it's nauseating. It's nauseating.
We're going to get our Rocky IV. Here we go.
Rocky IV, Rocky Redux.
Rocky IV Part 2.
Look, the only way that these will be okay is if they do that. If they do Rocky 4.2. Star Wars 9.2. I want to.
Also, on a random note, I now want to see Sylvester Stallone try and teach multiplication now to kids. Hey, yo, so you got the 4 here, and you got little x, and with the x, you gotta multiply. You have the groups. You put the groups. The groups. And,
Yo, Adrian. I could barely understand math before that. You're gonna make me really not understand math.
Why is there a letter here? I don't know. Paulie, why is there a letter here? I don't know. I want to see that now.
It's like a new children's educational show. Just like math will sly.
Don't worry, kids. You don't like math? Neither does Sylvester Stallone.
Next generation will just be dumb as bricks.
Yeah. And then they will go to the movie theater and consume more director's cuts. It's a circle. There you go.
It's a scam is what it is. Stallone's going to teach them math so badly that they're so dumb, they just watch the same dumb movies over and over again. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. There you go.
It's crazy. It's almost as crazy as this next segment, Rich. I think it's time to get into some odd news with the odd news nugget of the week. I've been really looking forward to this. since you added this note to the rundown, that I shouldn't scroll to the next page until it's time for the odd news. So you tell me when I can scroll.
That's right. Because we've got some visuals here, but don't worry, it'll still work for the audio podcast as well. But if you are watching this on our Facebook live stream or YouTube stream, you've got some visuals here to go on. We're going to go to Michigan in this story.
Okay.
This is just a bizarre story. I hate to say it, though. Poor Elmo is going to get hurt here.
Poor Elmo. Oh
yeah.
God.
Sorry if you're a big fan of Elmo. This is it's not going to be Elmo's world in this story. I hate to say.
It sounds so dark.
Yes. So in Michigan, while unaware that he was being recorded by a nursery room camera, a Michigan home inspector decided in the middle of his inspection to lock the door and pleasure himself with an Elmo doll.
Why?
And as a result, there is a screen grab from...
Oh my God. Hold on.
Yeah, so this is the first time ever we actually have a screen grab of the man grabbing the Elmo, and he's gonna do some naughty with it.
He's gonna have his way with the Elmo.
Yeah, that's literally a screenshot from the nursery room camera.
Okay, look, he looks like a guy who would pleasure himself with an Elmo.
Yes, he does.
I mean, if you said try to picture someone who's going to pleasure themselves with an Elmo, I mean, come on now, right? I mean, I'm not wrong. I'm not entirely wrong.
Yeah, he's got an interesting mugshot as well in this visual here.
This is so dark, Rich. There's a picture here of this guy ready, to assault poor Elmo. Why Elmo? Why?
Yeah.
He's like goes in this room. He's like finds like the nicest, cuddliest kid's toy. And he's like, I'm like, it's so twisted.
I'm gonna get this one.
Oh my God.
So this bad guy, 59-year-old Kevin Wayne Van Leuven.
What a name.
What a name, yeah.
Van Leuven.
Yeah, there he is. 59-year-old Kevin Wayne Van Leuven was arraigned yesterday on a pair of charges stemming from this unsettling incident last month at a residence in Oxford Township, which is just outside of Detroit. Investigators said that Van Leuven was hired to inspect the property prior to a home sale. He was allowed into the home, and that's when the female was outside. The female homeowner stepped outside and received an alert on her phone that the webcam in the nursery room detected movement in the nursery.
Oh God.
Yep. She noted in the police report that he picked up the Elmo doll and appeared to pleasure himself with it. Yeah. So, sorry, this is not Elmo's world here on this on this odd news here.
Dude, you're at work, like you're working, right?
Well, he was working on something else.
He was working on something, that's for sure. God.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder that if he got caught this time, how many times did he not get caught? Because you just don't go your life like 40, 50 years just being a regular person. Then one day, you just snap and you're like, you know what? Elmo. Let's go. I don't think people make that switch that quickly. Like he doesn't go from just being regular home inspector to defiling an Elmo toy.
Well, you're going to like this part, I think, because when homeowners called 911 and alerted the sheriff's deputies to the footage, they confronted Van Leuven about the footage, and he claimed that he moved. He moved. That's it. He claimed he just moved the Elmo doll because he had to inspect electrical outlets against the wall.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Don't you love it when people make excuses and they don't know how truly the hole that they're in is, like how deep the hole really is that they're in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he didn't know there was video.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, oh,
Oh,
I just moved it. I don't know how this like, white sticky stuff got all over. This is just like, oh, the paint
it,
didn't dry
it
or
was it
something. Like,
was
I'm
it was next to hand sanitizer. I don't
next to
know.
yeah, it was next to hand sign. Yes.
How did that happen?
I don't know. That's sure weird. Maybe one of the kids was eating ice cream or something. I don't know.
So that's when cops finally told him that there was indeed a camera in the nursery that caught all of his actions, and
Whoops.
that's when Van Leuven confessed to the crime. He is being charged with indecent exposure and malicious destruction of property under $200. That's a specific crime. $200 is the limit.
Malicious destruction of property
Under two
under
hundred
two hundred
dollars.
dollars. So is there
That's
another charge where it's over
I,
$200?
I guess that would be grand malicious destruction of property.
Sure,
Two
I
hundred
like that.
dollars. That's the baseline. So if you destroy things at $199.95, you're in that territory. You haven't graduated to the next one yet.
That's right. Oh
Again, I
my
keep
god.
saying this, but at some point I want to interview like a bails person or like a lawyer or we need to figure out how do they come up with these arbitrary numbers, you
They're
know?
super arbitrary. Like one day they were like, well, what type of, how expensive can something be before it becomes like a major issue? They're like $200.
$200.
That's the
Brilliant.
limit.
Write it down. $200.
I wish at some point somebody had gone completely off the rails and been like $273.59. And like that was the limit. You know? Sometimes I want round numbers, other times I want wildly specific numbers.
Yep. Also, as a result, the judge has ordered a mental health evaluation for him, and he is not allowed to go into any residential property that he does not own.
Yeah,
So,
that's probably a good idea.
yeah, I think that's very appropriate.
It's a very good idea.
Whew, man, Elmo. Oof.
Poor Elmo.
Yeah, this was not Elmo's world.
Seriously, he did not deserve that. Elmo was just chilling there, apparently pressed up against some outlets there in the room. Next thing you know, this guy comes in and just decides he wants to be an Elmo assaulter, an Elmo molester.
Yeah,
Man,
not the Sesame Street I know.
no.
That's the HBO Sesame Street.
I mean, Sesame Street, yeah, they did get taken over by HBO, didn't they?
Yeah. So this is late night Sesame Street.
Who knows? It could be an episode.
Yeah. Poor Elmo. And that's what I have for you this week in the odd news. Now let's get to some recommendations for you this weekend with apocalypse activities, things that we recommend that you check out this weekend. Mike's having a bigger weekend in terms of moving and stuff, but if you have some free time, Mike, do you have something you're gonna catch this weekend?
Yeah, I actually really want to watch the Mortal Kombat movie coming out to
Yeah.
HBO Max this weekend. I think it comes out on your birthday, Rich. Which, oh,
Perfect.
by the way, happy early birthday. This weekend
Yeah, I
is your
forgot. It's
birthday.
also my birthday.
Jeez, you just lined everything up in 1 week.
Yes, I did. Everything just happened like this week.
Everything just happened. But yeah, so Mortal Kombat comes out to HBO Max on your birthday. So, Rich, how are you going to be spending your birthday? Newly engaged and Mortal Kombat. I mean,
Yeah,
that's amazing right there on your birthday
Boy.
and everything. So
That's
yeah, what do you got going on in apocalypse
It's
activities?
crazy. So actually, me and Rachel, we have a we planned this out a while ago. We're actually doing a little birthday getaway up to
Nice.
Jim Thorpe. So
Okay, cool.
it's gonna be a nice little trip. We're heading up that way. So actually, I don't know if I'll have enough time to capture the Mortal Kombat movie. May have to do that on the day we come back. But yeah, it's my birthday weekend, so have an extra shot, have an extra drink.
Have a
and-
shot for you, Rich.
Yeah, there you go. Why not? Yeah. You're absolutely right. I can't. This week has been so crazy. I totally just plainly just forgot that my birthday is Saturday.
I think it's because you're getting old, really.
That too. That's probably part of this as well.
The mind starts to go the older you get.
That's right. That's right. But there you go. That's apocalypse activities for this weekend. And with that, we're about to approach our hour limit here, so I think it's time to start wrapping this up. If you like what you heard, make sure you go to our website, thecrispynoodle.com. Make sure you follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the whole shebang-a-bang.
In addition to the whole shebang-a-bang, you can also subscribe to our channel on YouTube, where you can find the video version of this podcast as well as a whole bunch of other videos. But you can still get the audio-only version of the podcast by subscribing to the Crispy Noodle Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, and Amazon devices. So make sure you search for, download, and subscribe to the Crispy Noodle Podcast on YouTube or the podcasting service of your choice.
That's right. We also have a SoundCloud page where we have mini noodles, the best bits of the show, shrunk down to a quick minute clip that you can easily listen to with friends and family, the craziness of the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
That's right. So many ways to get in touch with and share the Crispy Noodle Podcast. But if you want to get in touch with us individually on Twitter to share your sports, entertainment, or odd news stories, you can find us on Twitter. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
And I am at Rich Liebig, RichLiebig. Find us on the Twitters. Let us know what's happening. If you want to send us a message, you want to send us a news story to talk about on next week's episode, absolutely send it our way, and we'll give you a Crispy Noodle shout out if we use it. But I think that's going to do it for right now. This has been the Crispy Compact Communiqué, the 2021 streaming version of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. All right, Mike, you got anything else left on this crazy episode?
No, just congratulations once again, Rich.
Thank you. It's been a hell of a ride so far, and looking forward to what comes next with us. And all happy here on this week. Busy week, but all happy week. That's what it's
all
been.
Good stuff.
Yep. But for right now, it's time to wrap this up. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys
later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.